Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're taking something you might think of as just a simple, quaint daily habit, writing in a diary, and completely reframing it. We're going to dive into the hard science of how putting pen to paper is actually a profoundly powerful, scientifically validated tool for neurological repair. If you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by your own thoughts, you're really going to want to pay close attention to the science we're unpacking today.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our structured roadmap for today, designed specifically to help you regain focus and emotional control. We'll start with the chaos in your head, explore journaling as neurological repair, and then walk through 3 techniques: expressive writing, gratitude journaling, and reflective reframing. We'll wrap it all up with mental cross-training for life.
Section 1. The chaos in your head, and that incredibly familiar feeling of mental overload. Look, we've all been exactly there, right? You spend the past hour just mindlessly scrolling, drifting from one open tab on your browser to another. You've got half a message typed out on your phone, and a dozen half-formed thoughts just kind of floating around in your brain. Your mind feels completely full, but absolutely unfocused. In these moments of heavy mental traffic, the physical act of picking up a notebook is absolutely crucial. You don't pick it up because you know exactly what you're going to say. You do it simply because those chaotic thoughts buzzing around in your head desperately need a physical place to land. And as you write one line, and then another, even if the words come out uneven, something inside you actually begins to shift.
Section 2. Journaling as neurological repair. Let's look at the science of brain synchronization.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that this is where we hit a genuine scientific revelation. When you write down your feelings, your prefrontal cortex, that's the part that handles planning and analysis, starts communicating directly with the amygdala, the region where your emotional reactivity lives. And as a result, the amygdala's reactivity actively quiets down. Plus, a 2021 study from Stanford looking at stress recovery found that the mid-cingulate cortex, which usually fires up under intense emotional pressure, becomes much calmer and more coordinated. Your brain is literally learning to talk to itself to order the chaos.
Scientists actually have a specific name for this process: affect labeling. It's the act of putting your emotions into words, which physically activates the ventrolateral prefrontal cortex in order to quiet down the amygdala. Simply put, this scientific phenomenon is exactly what allows your brain to fully feel a difficult emotion without completely drowning in it. It gives your mind an anchor. But the mechanism you use to get those words out, that matters deeply. According to a 2023 study published in Frontiers in Psychology, typing might be faster, sure, and much more automatic, but it activates far fewer areas of the brain. Contrast that with the physical act of handwriting. Handwriting forces your hand to move at the speed of your thoughts. It activates way more brain areas and, crucially, it slows your mind down just enough to make sense of itself rather than getting lost in the chaos of a keyboard.
Section 3. Technique 1. Expressive writing, used for releasing emotional weight.
So this is the first tool in our Rule of 3 framework, and it's the one you reach for specifically to tackle deep disappointments, past hurts, and lingering losses. Expressive writing means writing continuously for 15 to 20 minutes about a heavy emotion. No editing, no stressing over grammar, and absolutely no audience in mind. Developed by psychologist James Pennebaker, this technique works because your brain fundamentally treats emotional suppression as unfinished neurological work. By writing until you literally run out of words, you're finally allowing your brain to complete that stressful open loop. The biological effects here are just profound. Expressive writing completes that loop of emotional suppression, quieting the brain's emotional centers while actively increasing your cognitive control. You'll probably notice your body physically feeling lighter because your mind has finally stopped trying to contain what it just released. And hey, if you find yourself crying or feeling a wave of temporary fatigue, I want to reassure you, feeling tired or wanting to stop halfway is perfectly okay. True healing requires a small amount of discomfort before the calm returns.
Section 4. Technique 2. Gratitude journaling, focusing on retraining your attention.
Now, I want to make this explicitly clear right out of the gate. This is not about forced, toxic positivity. Not at all. This is entirely about retraining your attention by filling a blank page with pure, undeniable presence. The absolute key to making this work neurologically is extreme specificity. Generic gratitude, like saying, "I'm grateful for my friend," is nice, but it doesn't do much for your brain. But specific gratitude, saying, "I'm grateful for the way my friend listened when I was quiet," changes the game entirely. Adding that extreme specific detail actually anchors the memory, helping your brain build brand new, stable emotional associations over time.
And this brilliantly illustrates how a daily gratitude habit actively stimulates the ventral striatum and engages the medial prefrontal cortex. This regulates your overall mood and motivation, literally teaching your brain to look for what is stable instead of constantly scanning the horizon for threats. Look, a daily gratitude practice doesn't magically erase your struggles, but it neurologically tunes your nervous system toward balance so you can clearly see beyond them.
Section 5. Technique 3. Reflective reframing for building emotional resilience. Let's move to and see how this builds a highly logical, structured approach for dealing with challenges. This is designed to deliberately strengthen those critical prefrontal regions of your brain that regulate reactivity. When you face a challenge, you follow this 3-step framework. Step 1, write what happened plainly, without any judgment, just the facts. Step 2, write what it meant, what it revealed, or what it taught you. Step 3, write down one small, actionable step you can take next time. This teaches you the invaluable skill of stepping back, not to emotionally detach, but to truly understand and reinterpret the event before you react. The crucial takeaway here is this: difficulties literally become data points for future growth. By actively practicing this technique, you stop seeing challenges as massive personal failures. This subtle, reframed shift in perspective actually changes how your brain will automatically respond to future stress. It's a real game changer for your resilience.
Section 6. Mental cross-training for life and choosing the right tool.
I want to totally reassure you right now, you do not need to do all 3 of these techniques every single day. That would be exhausting. Think of this as your personal mental cross-training. When your emotions feel overwhelmingly heavy, use expressive writing to release that pressure. When you feel numb or distant, use gratitude journaling to anchor yourself back in the present. And when life just feels confusing and you need a logical path forward, use reflective reframing. Each practice strengthens a completely different circuit of awareness. Over time, you'll develop a brain that naturally pauses longer, remembers much clearer, and recovers far faster.
I really want you to take this to heart. Each word you write is a small act of neuroplasticity, a quiet experiment in honesty and adaptation. Your handwriting literally becomes the physical trace of a mind learning how to heal itself. We so often think of journaling just as a quaint act of self-expression, but as the science definitively shows us today, it is truly an act of active self-construction.
So what does this all mean for you? Well, the next time you sit down with a notebook, I want you to stop and totally reframe your approach. Don't ask the wrong question. Don't sit there asking, what should I write? That only brings back the pressure. Instead, ask yourself this: what is my brain trying to tell me? Let that question empower you. Grab a pen, quiet the chaos, and simply listen to what comes out on your next blank page. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Now go pick up a pen.